semiconductor industry.
Were the influence of former Secretary into the country?
For having me on.
Welcome back everyone dito sa latest episode ng Deep Dive. Kasama po natin si Attorney Dino De Leon. Ito, wala talagang objections yan. Pag may interview, go ka agad yan. Walang interruption, walang objections. Go lang ng go. Yun lang, minsan ayan na, tumatanda na rin kaming lahat, kaya pasensyahan na lang. Si Ronald Llamas lang, alam mo, knock on the wood na parang nagsashabu yata yan. Sabi ko
Parang
talaga.
para sa kanya nakakabata yata yung
Oo
interview.
nga
Being able to predict the political landscape No, predict or dictate?
Hindi ko alam kung Madam Auring ang tawag ko dyan, but 50-50 naman siya So statistically, he's neutral, but it works. Bro, pag-usapan natin, what is your take so far pagdating dito sa trial niya? Obviously, we're seeing a lot of highlights. Of course, shoutout dun sa Dean yun, no? Si inaugural Dean ng De La Salle Law School na si future senator, no? Grabe, na-realize ng tao talaga, grabe ng level ni Congressman Jokno, no? Talaga pang senado talaga. Dito nakikita natin talaga yung caliber ng mga congressmen at saka mga progressives na involved dito sa accountability measure na yan. Pero bro, since non-partisan, impartial tayo, first of all, what is your general overview dito? Did it pan out as you expected before we go into the granularities?
Well, hindi ko alam kung totoo tama yung sinasabi mo na pang Senado, itong si Chel Jokno, kasi yung Senado ngayon, pag sinabi mong pang Senado, ang baba nun. No? Baka pang Kongreso na lang siya kasi mas magaling yung House ngayon, di ba? Having said that, talagang magaling si Chel Jokno. Sabi, ang biro ko nga dito kay Dean Chel, pasensya ka na din pero kung mag-o-object ka sa kind of lawyering ko, touch move ka na, ako yung isa sa una mong produkto. No? So, ganun talaga. So sana may pinagbarahan kami, and I can attest to the fact na napakagaling niya. I've seen him argue before the Supreme Court. I was part of his amicus curiae team when I was still a law student, no? And I've seen him firsthand on how he fights for human rights and rule of law. Kanya nakita ko kay Laila Gilima na napakagaling sa practice. At ang galing din ng mga private prosecutors natin, no? And no matter how what angle I try to take a look at it, kahit natanggalin ko yung bias side ko, although pag sinasabihan ako ng bias ng mga tao, sabi ko natural. Hindi natin, I'm being interviewed for my biases, di ba? And ang biases ko talaga dito is for the rule of law and accountability. And kung titingnan talaga natin, no, kahit saan kung angulo tingnan, this is a victory for the Constitution. But I would like to approach it with cautious optimism. No? Optimism, bakit? Kasi at least dapat last year pa ito, retake na nga ito, delayed na nga ng 1.5 years, no? Pero andyan pa rin at least umuusad yung proseso, no? So optimistic ako dahil ganyan rin naman yung sa panahon ni Renato Corona, nakakala ng mga tao walang numero pero nakuha yung numero because after makita yung ebidensya. So I am optimistic. But I'm being cautious, and that's the reason why nilaunch ka natin sa Team Pinas rin yung Bantay Senado, no? Dahil hindi mo rin ma-underestimate yung galing ng mga taong gustong pigilan ng pananagutan at kung hanggang saan sila willing magpunta, baril-barilan man yan, magkandara man yan, gagawin nila para grabe yung pagiging creative nga nitong mga ito para pigilan yung pananagutan ni Sara Duterte. So I have to approach it as well cautiously and make sure na constantly bantayan natin itong ating Senado. Ngayon, did yung expectation ko ba na-meet, no? Nagulat lang ako, and I would have, and this is an honest assessment of our peers, no, in the defense. Nagulat lang ako na I expected a little bit more. Yun lang yung masasabi ko. I expected a little bit more performance, not too technical kasi parang sobrang technical nila, pero nagre-resort rin naman sila sa mga very clear na fallacies, no? For example, 32 million na bumoto dyan appeal to population, and to begin with, hindi naman yan yung issue, and res ipsa loquitur, the thing does not necessarily follow na may 32 million dyan, hindi na siya kailangan ma-impeach, di ba? Yung sinasabi na a mother is talking, di ba? In this particular instance, again, res ipsa loquitur, no, na hindi ibig sabihin hindi siya may impeach just because napangunahan siya ng emotions niya, no? Pag napangunahan niya siya ng emotions niya, hindi siya pasok to remain in office, especially the highest official of the land, because hindi dapat ganyan yung demeanor at disposition ng ating highest official of the land. Nagtataka ako anong depensa ba ng mga abogado ni Sara Duterte. totoo ba yung video? Bakit tayo nag-authenticate ng ganyan? Common exhibit nga yan. Ibig sabihin, kung ino-offer din ng depensa yan as an exhibit, hindi naman sila mag-offer ng peking video. So, ina-admit nila yung authenticity niyan. Di ba? So, bakit tayo ganito kahaba siyam na oras na tayo nag-authenticate ng video? Common exhibit yan. Dinedeny ba ng depensa yung authenticity niyan? Kung common exhibit yan? At kung hindi naman pala nila dinedeny, kasi sabi nila, kung ano man yung na-utter, understandable yon, justifiable yon, na-utter yon because of what was happening, may konteksto ito, hindi mo dinedry yung video. So I'm still confused and feeling ko may intrinsic tension yung case theory ng defense. And until now, I am uncertain what their case theory is. Yung case theory ng prosecution kasi malinaw ito yung apat na paratang, ito ay supported ng mga ebidensya. Overall, ang ina-assess natin dito yung continued fitness ng Vice President to remain in office at saka sa huli, anong klaseng bansa ba ang gusto nating ipamana sa ating mga salinlahi, sa mga next generations at ano ba yung tatanungin nila? Ang sabi ni Congressman Luisa, di ba? Hindi naman nila tatanungin kung sinong mga political affiliations, kung gaano ka-powerful yan. Ang tatanungin nila, when the Constitution called did the Republic respond? Yun yung lang tatanungin ng next generation. So malinaw yung case theory ng prosecution. I am just uncertain until now what the defense is ng depensa. And I'm not sure whether they are able to communicate it. Lalong-lalo na parang overly technical, pure English, overly trial-centric. Nakakalimutan yata nila na quasi-political ito. They should be able to communicate to the public what their defense is. At every single time na nagiging overly technical sila, baka nagmumukha pang may tinatago sila at hindi sila nakapag-explain maayos.
That's a very good point, no? So, magsimula muna tayo siguro doon sa issue na bakit conjugal yung presiding administration dyan. Meron kang judge, meron kang officer, magkatabi, and of course, ngayon si Harry Roque, yung idol natin, no? Is having a feast, no? Making fun of the Senate President. Did it parang hurt the whole process? Sinasabi mo nga, so generous, this is a democratic exercise beyond anything else. The fact na nag-insist ng iba na isang legally trained senator, namely Chizo Escudero, to preside over it, and perhaps nakikita natin na biglang si Sherwin had to step back, although yung statement naman niya suggested na this was for division of labor. Pero the optics is not that nice. I mean, what is your read of this conjugal arrangement? Was there another way around? Kasi alam natin sa presidential impeachment, you can have the Supreme Court Chief Justice there. So medyo understandable yung semi-conjugal situation. But this is kind of different.
Optics-wise, no, pagka yung presidente, nakaupo pa rin naman yung Senate President, no, kahit di siya nagpe-preside. That's first. Second, pwede mo rin sabihin na hindi naman siya yung impeachment presiding officer, ba't pa siya nakaupo doon, no? Pero siguro that's also the recognition of the fact that siya yung primus inter pares at habang nagpa-participate siya, he should be there, no, as the Senate President. Regardless, I think very clear naman na sa rules sa impeachment sa Constitution, ang nakalagay lang is yung presidente pag yung presidente ang nasasaktan, Chief Justice. Pag hindi, ibig sabihin it can be anyone else as a member of the Senate, no? So there's no specific prescription by the Senate kung sino dapat magpe-preside. So I know that there is already a petition in the Supreme Court. I don't think it will succeed. Nag-i-insist in a condescending manner na naman to kina Mr. Laba, si Pia Cayetano at saka si Alan Peter Cayetano, di ba? Nag-i-insist na naman sila na binasa raw nila na yun daw ang intention ng isa sa framers of the Constitution nung tinanong siya. First, kung yun talagang intention, edi sana sinama siya sa Constitution. Pangalawa, titignan mo lang kasi yung deliberations if there is a doubt. Ngayon, may doubt ba? Wala kang nakalagay eh. Kung doubtful yung mga yung word, tsaka katitingnan kung ano yung meaning ng word. Pero definitely on almost all kinds of constitutional construction that I've seen, if there is no prohibition, if there is no prescription, that is the intention of the framers. So kung ang very intention nila, it's always the Senate President, they should have put it. But they did not, despite the fact na inarticulate siya ng isa sa members of the commission. Hindi pa rin sinulat noong mga framers of Constitution in the final end product. So you can only surmise and assume that was deliberately excluded despite the fact that it was suggested. So it's not true yung sinasabi nitong si Pia Cayetano at saka di Alan Peter Cayetano na automatically you seek guidance from the deliberations kasi maraming holding na rin na merong sinabi doon pero it was not considered as binding kasi nga it was specifically despite the fact na may intention na included, it was specifically excluded in the final version of the Constitution.
Balikan natin yan. I just want to ask, no, to be fair, I mean, we're debaters by training. Immanently difficult ba yung situation nung kabila? Kasi may pagka-Kaufmanite yung nakikita ko, except it's even more sophomoric than the Kaufman antics we saw. Is that because of the inherently, let's just say, um, difficult situation of defending the vice president? Or you think talaga may mali sila in terms of strategy, if not picking the right people to execute that strategy, legal strategy?
Well, one is I don't know how many lawyers are willing to lawyer for the vice president. No? Ang reading ko is ang daming mga law offices na in-approach pero humihindi. No? Parang ayaw nila. Ayaw nila kasi ayaw nila hindi katulad kay Chief Justice Corona no, ang daming volunteer lawyers. No? That's first. Second, siguro nako-compare lang ng sambayanan yung lalo na yung nakakita ng impeachment to yung performance ng defense no and dati kasi talagang very senior justices former justices di ba sila Andres Narvasa, Estelito Mendoza, Serafin Cuevas no so siguro no I don't know fairly or unfairly na compare di ba sila yung depensa ngayon diyan no so hindi ako sure kung it's a matter of mali ba yung pinili kasi hindi ko alam naman kung sino pagpipilian pero ang nakita naman natin na yung mga members ng defense naman have some sort of reputation in the legal community na ability to fight at machinery naman yan makinarya rin naman yan at isa yan sa mga major law firms no but again, because major law firms sila, of course, the public is expecting so much from them. And dahil naghahamon yung principal nila ng bloodbath, we would have expected that. Unfortunately, and in my honest assessment, hindi ko nakita yun. Ang layo ng performance ng prosecution, no? Nagtataka ako bakit nahihirapan yung depensa sa cross-examination kanina na hindi makapasok. Dapat baliktad eh. Ang hindi dapat makapasok, yung nagda-direct examination, pero kanina nag-cross-examination, but parang si Attorney CJ Narvasa pa yung hindi makapasok. So, nagtakang-taka ako doon. I think nakita kung gaano ka-seasoned yung prosecution. At ang pinaka-importante sa lahat, I think, the prosecutors came in more prepared in terms of the impeachment process, not making it too overly technical, because again, this is sui generis, and they know exactly the assignment. The assignment is to communicate the evidence, diba? Make it conform with basic rules of fairness and the rules, but at the same time ensure that you're able to communicate it properly to the public, no? Kaya nakalagay yan sa mga opening statements sila and all. Even the opening statement of Attorney Sheila Season to me was really wanting. And I plan nga to make it as an example in my future workshops on speeches and opening statements, di ba? And I will let
What not to do, ganun ba yan? What not
hindi naman, pero tatanungin ko sila anong tingin nila, no? Pero ako, nung tinitingnan ko yung assessment, and siguro dahil debaters tayo, chine-check ko sana kung ano ba talaga yung point. Kasi malinaw yung sa malinaw yung sa prosecution eh. This is backed by evidence. Hindi ganito yung klase yung gusto nating mamanahin, di ba, ng ating mga susunod na salinlahi. Malinaw eh. This is backed by evidence. Ito yung apat na paratang. Yung sa depensa, 32 million ito, nasa inyo yung burden of proof. Hindi debatable yung mga yun eh. Di ba? Hindi nagtitake ng stand eh. Tapos sabi yung burden of proof, totoo naman yun eh. Ang burden of evidence, although shifts, pag nakapag-offer na kami ng ebidensya, kayo na kailangan may patunayan na hindi totoo ito. Eh nakita na sa bayan ng Pilipino yung pieces of evidence. So actually, at least in the political minds of the people, the burden of evidence is now shifting eh. The burden of proof is still with the prosecution, but the burden of evidence is now shifting towards the defense. That's one. And yung mga sinasabi nila, non-debatable. Yung pangalawa, 32 million ang bumoto dito eh. That's not the debate. That is not the issue. Pangatlo, mas marami siyang naboto kaysa sa inyong lahat eh. Hindi na naman yun yung issue. Pang-apat, ang sabi niya, dapat ko ano standards ini-impose nyo sa Vice President. Nasa inyo rin yan sa House eh. Hindi naman yung House ang under trial. Tsaka again, that's not debatable. That's still true. So, I feel like hindi malinaw kung anong tinitake ng stand ng depensa. So again, I found the opening statement and the overall performance a little bit wanting.
Is it because they're playing to a different audience since sabi mo hindi naman talaga purely legal process that this is more than that. This is more about yung retaining your base. Kasi parati ako tinatag ng mga ka-DDS natin eh. Tapos, sa universe nila, impressive yung ginagawa ng mga tao nila, which I found very interesting. Parang para sa kanila, palaban yung mga lawyers nila, binubuli sila, parang sila yung underdog, parang ganun yung nilalabas nila. So, I wonder something, is this about retaining Sarah base? Parang idea nila is, yung iba, hate naman tayo no matter what. Damn if you do, damn if you don't. Basta ano lang tayo, mag-DDS antics lang tayo dito. And baka malay mo, yung iba sa kanila gusto rin maging meow-meow. 'Di ba? May attorney meow-meow na siguro ngayon at the rate we're going. So parang ito yung mga nag-replace kay meow-meow, 'di ba? Kasi nakita natin with meow-meow and all, yung pala that's how you win the Duterte base. You just become a soldier of the army, right? Company man, 'di ba? And then just clown your way through. Next thing you know, attorney Gucci level ka na ng popularity sa DDS base. So, kutob ko, medyo may attorney Gucci Jr. o meow-meow ang ginagawa ng iba dyan. Or am I giving them too much credit thinking they're actually being very communicatively strategic here rather than legally competent?
Ako kasi yung tinatry nila i-convince na yun eh. Pero meron kasi nakukumbinsi yung ebidensya na nalulose nila. So yung kung ang kinoconvince nila, yung base na nila, baka nagkakamali sila in my humble submission, and I'm not pretending na mas magaling ako dyan sa defense. Pero in my humble submission, kung convinced na pala yun, bakit yung pa yung kinukumbinsi mo? Di ba dapat ang kinukumbinsi mo yung kaya pang mag-change yung mind? And marami sa tingin ko ang nag-change ng mind. This is the lowest approval rating of Sara Duterte. This is the lowest trust rating of her as well. Ang dami na dati kong nakikilala na dating mga supporters pero sinasabi parang nawala sila ng gana pagkatapos ma-expose lahat ng mga ito. So ang dami nang na-convince ng ebidensya, and I think those are the people that they have to win back. And I feel like them being overly technical is also turning off those people. Having said that, sabi mo nga kanina, Richard, di ba? Nung si Attorney Season yung nandoon sa opening statement at yung unang-unang engagement, di ba ang tapang? Grabe, ang tapang. Sabi ko nga, parang overly hostile. No? And sila-celebrate yun. Nang nakita ko ng ibang mga nasa crowd na kinain daw ng buhay. Si Jervin Luistro, palalo pati ng pre-trial. Di ba? Yun yung narinig kong mga sentimento na tapang sila kay Attorney Season eh. Pero ngayon, noong kay Attorney CJ Narvasa, aping-api na raw sila at grabe daw. So sa akin, hindi rin consistent kung ang strategy nila, inaapi sila ng Estado, dapat hindi yata sila ganun katapang. Di ba? Kung underdog ang gusto nilang portrayal and messaging. Pero kung gusto nila na parang palabang kami at yayariin namin kayo at bloodbath ito, di dapat hindi ganun yung performance nila kanina na parang hindi makapasok. Di ba? In other words, I feel like the communication strategy of the defense, the overall case theory of the defense, their arguments are all over the place. And until now, 3 days after the impeachment trial, I still don't get what is their case theory, what is their defense, what is their communication strategy. Until now, hindi pa rin talaga sa akin malinaw. Pagkatapos magpresenta ng prosecution, dapat sa akin kasi pag nagko-cross-examination yung mga pinapanood kong lawyers and even yung mga lawyers in our firm, dapat in the first 10 minutes, alam ko na kung saan patungo yung line of questioning mo eh. Hanggang ngayon, 3 days na, hindi ko pa naiintindihan kung saan patungo ang depensa.
Kaya nga, hinintay ko pa ng 3 days nung nag-object ka kahapon na pwede bukas na lang. Sabi ko, nga, parang wala rin masyadong pag-usapan kasi purong object ng object, parang heckler lang ginagawa nila, di ba? Parang they're just nagpa-heckler lang. So sabi ko from a legal analysis standpoint, para baka wala tayong masyadong mapupulot dyan.
Counterproductive yun Richard, nakita mo na yung pagkalat ng mga memes na object, tapos parang 98% of which got overruled. Na parang mema na lang at parang may pinipigilan at parang 'di ba, parang newbie, parang ganoon or parang hindi talaga overall maganda, pati yung mga judges parang binabad trip mo kasi hindi makapagpatuloy yung trial for the most frivolous smallest things, pati ba naman yung pause ni Attorney Ligutan issue, 'di ba? So kung paano siya mag-pause, 'di ba? Medyo ano sa akin 'yon, tingin ko in the communications point of view and even in gaining credibility in the art of cross-examination and forwarding your case. Tingin ko meron kasing backlash and so negative effect yung ganong seemingly overzealous to the point na parang unreasonable na at parang hindi na nirespeto yung proseso.
parang kunyari parang pag boxing, hug ka ng hug doon sa kalaban mo, di ba? Parang ganun yung dating, di ba? Yung parang yung amateur ka, isang suntok lang, alam mo na, tapos i-hug mo na naman yung kalaban mo, tapos iwalay naman ka ng referee. It looks very amateur hour. In fact, parang sumablay nga kanina, di ba? Parang meron siya sasabihin, tapos parang wag na lang.
Oo.
Mga ganun, medyo nagba-blank na rin, nagba-blank moment.
And of course, ang dami nanonood dito, di ba? And we don't wanna be parang ang dami ko nakukuhang komento kanina na nag-watch party tayo, no? Is parang what a waste of time and taxpayers' money. Di ba? What a waste of taxpayers' money na ganito kagrabe yung authentication process tapos hindi nyo naman pala i-dispute na totoo, hindi. Di ba? I-offer nyo rin pala as your common exhibit. Medyo nalilito talaga ako doon na i-offer sa common exhibit, i-offer si Zulaika na common witness. Pero hindi totoo yung video. What is that about? What is that about?
Having said that, we may have to endure this for the next 3 months. So kung from a macro legal standpoint, since marathon ito more than a sprint, kasi so far medyo sablay yung sprint, parang opening act pa lang medyo sumablay na. But if you look at the big picture, do you expect na magkakaroon sila ng, I don't know, last minute rally, fourth quarter? Kasi pag-usapan natin yung 4 different articles of impeachment, di ba? So baka tanggap nilang sa first, medyo mahirap talaga depensahan si Sara. Parang all they can say is, let's just look at the context, di ba? At si Zulaika Lopez, yata si Chief of Staff Attorney Lopez is going to be called to the impeachment trial. So tingnan natin kasi yun yung konteksto daw nung nagwala daw si Sara. So basically they're trying to make it look like she was just trying to protect her team. She was just overly emotional about it, blah blah blah. Although I'm not sure how that is gonna reassure people about her presidential ambitions. Kung gano'n na maging presidente mo, good luck na lang sa atin. But since Invictus ang motto niya, Convictus, Invictus, whatever. Baka naman later on na sila magpipick up. Especially, some would say the bribery one, baka medyo may laban sila. Some would say baka even, malay mo, baka even sa confidential fund, medyo ano rin sila. And maybe they're really preparing dun sa unexplained wealth. I know that you only need to prove one article of impeachment, but that presumes your senators are really gonna vote based on the threshold of evidence presented to them. So, I'm thinking kung marathon ito, baka para sa kanila, just given the flow, the structure of this trial, they're willing to give quarter 1 away and then slowly magbe-build back sila. Sorry, I'm a football guy, so I've seen like yung 2-0 down Argentina and then suddenly last 10 minutes 3-2, even if questionable yung panalo nila sa Egypt. So I'm just trying to say it from a macro legal long marathon strategy point of view.
Well, gusto ko na sabihin na if I will be the counsel of Sara, which of course will never happen, but let's just put that as part of our fantasy imagination no? Right now. Fantasy or imagination natin ngayon. I will be so uncomfortable ng paratang sa akin yung continuous fitness ko to be a vice president. Tapos ang reference pa rin pagkapasok, under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloodied but unbound. Blood pa rin, di ba? Bludgeoning pa rin. Sinutok-sutok mo na nga yung sheriff, yun nga yung magiging ebidensya sa'yo. At threat nga, yung propensity mo to actually become violent, tapos bludgeoning pa rin yung reference mo. No? And gusto ko lang sabihin na nakalimutan niyo yung part na yun. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloodied but unbound. Di ba? Hindi bludgeoning ng chance to, hindi ito pagkakataon ng ebidensya ng galing sa bibig niya mismo, parang kay Rodante Barcolete. No? So hindi ito bludgeonings of chance. No? It is you, yourself, who self-inflicted ito. Hindi ito bludgeonings of chance. Pero sa akin kasi, tinan mo kahapon, gusto nila panoorin yung 2-hour video. Doesn't that send you the message kung anong saan patungo ito? Ang tingin kong game plan ng defense is, alam nilang mahina yung kaso, alam nilang malakas yung ebidensya, panoorin natin 2-hour video, pagurin tayong lahat hanggang dulo ng daigdig, pahabain ito hanggang next year, so much so na presidential elections na. And nagbabank on sila sa fact na pwede pa rin siya tumakbo, wag pa rin siya matanggal kasi sasabihin na pahabain nila lahat yung mga witnesses. Pagpahabain nila yung witness, oops, it's our turn. And then papahabain ulit nila yung mga witnesses at hindi matatapos yung impeachment trial. At pag bumukain naman nila na pagka hindi naman sila na pinagpresenta ng maayos, may violation ng due process. So malamang papayagan sila magpresenta as many witnesses as they can, and there is a chance na hindi ito matapos by the end of the year, no? Lalo na kung all four articles of impeachment ang pag-uusapan, no? So baka yan yung game plan to make sure na she will not be meted out with the ultimate penalty of perpetual absolute disqualification hanggang election na. I'm not precluding that possibility.
Wait, hindi ba fixed dapat yung ano? I mean, my goodness, it's 90, 91, 92 days of this is already looking exhausting psychologically over. Paano siya ma-extend? I mean, how do you see this extending further? Like, because of time in securing witnesses, technicalities,
Isa
administrative
pa lang nga yung
files?
pe-presente. Isa pa lang yung pe-presente. Di ba dapat third witness na tayo, di ba? Kung one witness a day rule. Isa pa lang yung napipresente. So we're down 1/3 na. And siguro naman may birth pains, so they will be a little bit faster in some other, for some other time. Pero duda ko na kung lahat ng witnesses pag ipipresenta na magiging 92 days lang ito eh. I think there's already a delay incurred just for today. So it's gonna be a question of how much is the resolve of the Senate as an impeachment court to impose or make sure na talagang 90 plus days lang yan, or will they budge in and say to the prosecution's complaint eventually na, well, bigyan nyo kami ng right na magkaroon ng malakas na depensa at as much witnesses as we can. Otherwise, this is a sham trial, di ba? And masisira yung credibility. That could be part of the overall strategy, delaying this. Kasi nagtataka ako, and parang no sane litigator would want to watch for 2 hours a video, di ba? In fact, they could just say, Your Honor, it's already offered in evidence, and the judges can peruse through it. Di ba? In their own time, and maybe we'll just peruse through what we think are relevant. So nagtataka ako kahapon pa kung bakit lang gusto panoorin yung buong 2 hours only to delay the proceedings. There could be no other reason why they would want to watch the entire 2 hours of that video.
Just a recap lang quickly. Dun sa 4 articles of impeachment, what is your assessment in terms of burden of proof? Which ones are sa tingin mo easier from a legal standpoint? And then on a political level, what do you think could be more potentially damaging or more vulnerable si Vice President?
Dahil ang overall theory ng prosecution is hindi na siya fit to continue holding office, especially office of the Vice President, which is a heartbeat away from the presidency. I think tama na nagsimula sila dito sa contracting and assassin, no? Pero ang easiest and strongest and damning for me is yung SALN. Kasi nangyari na yun dati, hindi nagdeklara sa SALN, impeach. Tapos dito, meron na yung Anti-Money Laundering Council report, 6 billion labas-pasok, hindi nagmamatch, impeached. So yun, dalawang dokumento lang kailangan i-presenta doon, sa totoo lang eh. And then the burden of evidence shifts on Sara Duterte to prove that whatever came in and out of those bank accounts were legitimately acquired. Kung hindi niya ma-fulfill yung burden of evidence na yun, I think that is sufficient for conviction. Kaya kung gusto kong bilisan rin ito, o di, pagbotohan natin to kasi kung lalaruin nyo lang naman pala, hindi niya ma-explain yan, tapos ayaw nyo pa rin i-impeach, naglolokal lang tayo dito, sayang oras sa ating lahat. Diba? So yun yung easiest for me, kasi di ba may point pa yung defense kanina na, ang na-prove nyo lang, in-utter niyan, hindi nyo naman na-prove na nag-contract talaga na assassin. Diba? Meron pa silang ganong fury eh. Diba? Kahit ang gaya na mismo sa bibig niya eh. And hindi pa naman tapos yung prosecution when it comes to presentation of evidence. So, ano pa lang naman, authentication pa lang naman ng video, ba't hinahanap nyo na kung nasa yung assassin? Malay mo, nandyan. Malay mo, isa yun sa ebidensya na ipipresenta eventually. Pero yung dokumento, yung SALN versus the Anti-Money Laundering Council report, ano yan eh, very damning and very obvious. They speak for themselves. Res ipsa loquitur yan, the thing speaks for itself. And Sara Duterte has a lot of explaining to do. If hindi niya ma-explain yan, I think impeachable yan. Malinaw yan, may jurisprudence na yan, may past experience na tayo.
But then again, how is the voting? Like, isa-isa, the senators have to vote on the articles of impeachment? Is that how it's gonna happen? Paano yan?
Yes. Bawat isa, magbobotahan sila, tatawagin sila ng roll call, no? At ikakasa nila yung vote nila yun, at they can explain their vote for each article of impeachment. Kung maalala mo, if I'm not mistaken, yung kay Renato Corona, 7 yata dapat yung articles of impeachment. Basta marami. Pero ultimately, yun lang ang pinagbotohan eh. Kaya actually, kung mayroon na ring numero yung Senate as impeachment court, pwede rin lang sabihin, tapos na yung 1 and 2. Okay na tayo. Magbotohan na tayo bago tayo mag-proceed sa 3 and 4. Pag nakuha na, tapos na tayo, huwag na natin mag-proceed sa 3 and 4. Pero kung hindi pa nakukuha yung 3 and 4, dapat nga ganun eh. Dapat nga ganun eh. Kung tapos na yung 1, pagbigyan ng depensa yung 1, botohan tayo. O, kung hindi pasok, ito naman tayo. Para hindi sa yung oras ay ipipresenta lahat, tapos wala rin pala. Di ba?
And how optimistic you are, or rather how cautiously optimistic you are na at the end of the day, meron enough skill yung prosecution team to present enough evidence to either turn yung mga, kasi 16 ang kailangan mo, di ba? Although I've heard, people like you insisting baka hindi necessarily 16, but let's just say 16. So you need to, in addition to the majority, assuming all of the 13 of them are really on board, because again, si Ronald, tingin niya may mga dalawa tatlo dyan, alanganin din. You need to get three others from the other side. So both in terms of the legal threshold and the political threshold, ano yung mga scenarios na nakikita mo? Ano yung mga potential clinchers? Kasi again, no one knows what's gonna happen, right? Anything is possible. But in terms of probabilities and scenarios, what is your theory of the case? Kasi at the end of the day, wala rin sa ito kung it's just gonna go down to political partisan alignments and voting. Baka the more pa nga na backfire ito. It just shows na wala tayong checks and balances. If anything, baka Sarah will just show na Teflon effect talaga siya.
Well, in terms of the evidence, very confident ako. No? I think overwhelming ebidensya, all the thresholds kahit na proof beyond reasonable doubt will even be enough yung ebidensya no, to meet those standards. Napakalinaw ng mga ebidensya. Pero alam naman natin, hindi lang naman ebidensya tinitingnan, lalong-lalo na sa galing ng performance ng ating Senado at yung integrity niya, di ba? Hindi ako sure. Kaya sa tingin ko, meron talaga yung political side. And it's unfortunate na yung mga it's fortunate rin na yung mga walang integridad doon at marami sila, no? Yun din yung definitely, ultimately, negotiable. Hindi based principle Wala nga integridad So, ibig sabihin, kung negotiable yung mga yon, it also depends on the leverage of power that will be used. At sa akin, napakalakas na mensahe yung nag-rally yung Iglesia ni Cristo last week at inaresto pa rin si Rodante Barcaroleta ng Lourdes. Napakalakas ito parang wala kaming sasantuhin pagdating sa pagdating sa kaso na ito So I think maraming kinabahan doon at ang lakas na message doon at I have to give a snappy salute doon sa Sandigan Bayan, sa Ombudsman and doon sa enforcement ng warrant na yan na ang bilis no at maayos at wala kahit na anong klaseng drama. Walang drama napansin mo? Nandoon nakulong. That's it. That's how the justice system should work and given that that is a very strong message na kahit na bakit ka ba na Iglesia ni Cristo ay kaya maraming hulihin I think yung mga negotiable sa Senado nag-iisip ko ngayon kasi a lot of them have cases si Bongo I am certain na andyan ang warrant of arrest niyan di ba so dahil nga very strong yung message ng administrasyon na wala silang sasantuhin, baka nakikiusap na yung mga yan. And therefore, I feel like the numbers will not be possible.
But that means there's a huge price to turn this around, no? Hindi ko alam sa mga Villars, no? Pero si Go, di ba? Assuming, sasabihin niya, tatay, pasensya na, ayoko na sumama sa'yo, laglag ko na yung anak mo. Again, allegedly, I mean, like, this is a crazy scenario. Tsaka, Solar Mommy? Ayan, yun yung anak ko. Masyado naman kayong sinistress yung anak ko. Tsaka, inis siya kasi dapat siya yung naging Senate President. Di ba? Like, I'm thinking of the potential na pwedeng bumaliktad.
Hindi dapat,
what is the price?
Gusto ko lang sabihin sorry Richard, gusto ko lang sabihin na hindi dapat gano'n hindi dapat based on hindi ebidensya. I'm just saying, and I'm not even suggesting na makukonvince sila purely by political reasons and na hindi lang ito, na dapat hindi batay sa ebidensya. Dapat batay sa ebidensya. It's just reality hits na leverages are always at play at the end of the day. And therefore, if there is proper use of these leverages, it may be possible, and it's not impossible, that the impeachment will push.
Yeah, the reason I ask is because ang tanong ng iba, okay, anong plan B dito? Pag this doesn't turn things around, then what's the next plan? Pwede siyang kasuhan outside this process? Because if, and this is where I disagree with a lot of folks, na parang, hayaan na natin ng taong bayan na humusga dyan. edi popularity contest na lang tayo. Edi ano to, every 3 years lang tayo magkaroon ng maybe a chance for justice. And that also assumes that we vote based on our assessment of facts of the case rather than emotional attachment. Yung kaibigan natin si Prof. Cleve, di ba? They just released this very good journal article na they look at the Filipino voter, and actually regionalism seems to be a very, very strong predictor of saan ka tatayo pagdating sa voting preferences and patterns. So, that's why the most optimistic version of this effort is ano na lang, political damage lang, points game ito, make it competitive, and then who knows, most likely Lenny is gonna announce naman her to run, if not later this month, literally during a run, then maybe later this year. So yun na lang. So I'm just thinking kung medyo, I know that's more realistic, pero nakakalungkot rin, 'di ba? If it goes down to that, it really tells you it's really hard to hold powerful people accountable. But then again, you said, but look at Marcoleta, 'di ba? Who look completely so untouchable that on Net 25 he was just openly saying things. May nakausap nga ako na para I think andun siya sa production. Sabi niya, "Pati nga kami." Ano sinasabi nito? Pinapahamak na yung sarili niya. So, do you see what I'm saying? Like, these are the big picture questions some people are asking because after all, it's the, di ba, it's an indictment of our democracy if we don't get this right.
Well, ang sabi ko nga, di ba, retake na ito eh. Nag-fail na tayo last year. Nag-fail na institutions natin last year, retake na ito. So let's not squander that opportunity, no? And if it gets squandered again, I don't know. I don't know what is the next step. But the next step will probably be the last hurrah of the Bongbong administration and his legacy, and probably the survival of the Marcos family if they don't properly make sure that they will hold the Dutertes into account, because the Dutertes are very vindictive. The Dutertes have no respect for the rule of law, and the Dutertes will make it a point to destroy them and even their kids and the next generations. No, yun ang tingin ko. Fearless forecast ko yan. So,
House
ang
of
ibig
Dragons.
sabihin, kailangan mas proactive even after the impeachment. Kailangan mas proactive yung mga Marcoses in making sure na hindi na pwede tayong bumalik dun sa mga dark days na para bang rule of law. Pag Duterte apelido mo, para kang hari, ikaw masusunod. At hindi nga lang hari, di ba? Ikaw ay halos Diyos na nakayang kitilin ang buhay ng kahit na sino. No? Ayoko na nung ganong years eh. Ayoko na nung ganong time eh. And that is a very big possibility the moment that we really don't hold the Dutertes into account. The time is now. This is the moment nga, the golden chance. And I hope that the Filipino people and our decision makers will take that chance, and that those people who are entrusted with power and the mandate will hold their oath in a sacred way, in a sacred manner. And sana pag-decide sila based on evidence. So babalik ko lang sa kanina, I don't think na dapat nag-decide sila collaterally, patay lamang sa ebidensya, and I continue to pray that they will do that sworn mandate.
Huling tanong, I know both of us are exhausted at medyo hindi tayo Ronald, basta tumatanda na tayo. So Lenny na ba? Is that what we're looking at it right now? Are all the stars aligning now for a Lenny presidential run? And is that really the best possible outcome given the lay of the land?
Sa akin, ano yan, intramurals yan. Lenny is, I think, leading the surveys. I have no doubt that VP Lenny will serve the nation very well. In the same manner that I also have no doubt that Risa will serve the nation very well. Right now, I understand completely why Risa is preparing and has declared, because that is her moral duty, her duty as the leader of the opposition. Kasi ano man tapang gawin kung ikaw ay leader of opposition, di ba dapat mag-prepare at make sure meron tayong viable candidate. So ako, malinaw sa akin na ginagawa ni Risa at ang kanyang team is out of duty, and I respect that. Ultimately, ang importante, isa lang yung magiging kandidato. Wala akong duda na isa lang yung magiging kandidato. May it be Risa, may it be Lenny, may it be Bam. Pero ang tingin ko right now, ang the strongest, most viable candidate pa rin na easy to rally around to is si Lenny Robredo. Hindi siya kasing as divisive eh. Alam mo naman yun, pag pinaglalaban ka, mas firm ka, mas nagiging polarizing in this, di ba, divisive ka. Unfortunately, tayo mga kinds of character natin yun, we take a strong stand, di ba? Right now, sabi mo nga, the stars have aligned na ang kailangan natin is somebody who's a little bit less polarizing because our society is so polarized, man. And maybe Lenny Robredo leadership may be the kind of leadership that we need, and maybe yung kanyang ganyan na hindi kasing, 'di ba? Katulad nila Risa na talagang ito, no? Baka yun yung kailangan ng nation ngayon so that we can heal again, we can see each other eye to eye, and we could listen to the other side once again instead of having a polarizing figure. So, I think the strongest viable candidate na sana tumakbo pa rin will be Lenny Robredo. That's just
Yun nga, like, again, I was just with Sentry diba, the other day and all, and we had an interesting discussion about conviction politics and basically, and its discontents, diba, or its risk. Someone has to do the tough, dirty job, right? Otherwise, paano mapa-ICC si Digong? Paano ano yung mga plunderer dyan, diba? But it's also making sure na ang point ko kasi dyan is, I think if you look at Jesse Robredo, the reason why idol na idol ni Vico Soto yan and so many people out there is because Jesse Robredo had all of these tendencies, right? Decisive leader, at the same time conciliatory, at the same time get things done. And feeling ko ganun din si Lenny. It's just that the political moment encouraged her to be the more a unifying and some would even say conciliatory figure. But I think there's also a Jesse in her, no, na if ever she becomes the next president, I won't rule out the possibility na some of her cabinet members, some of the people she might eventually appoint to the ombudsman office, to the Supreme Court, among others, ito may matatapang na tao who will do their right job. And I don't think she'll block, for instance, holding certain people accountable. So that's where I diverge from some of our good friends who are still feeling nila masyadong mabait si Lenny, to put it mildly, na she might not be the right person to basically deal with this scourge of Dutertismo or whatever you want to call it. What do you think about that? Because I was saying, kung ganun din, best is support Lenny, but also encourage Lenny to be both a conciliatory figure, but also a decisive figure where it counts. And sana yung kabineta niya will be a kind of a unifying cabinet in terms of unifying all the progressive pink elements, not unifying in terms of putting some pro-Duterte people there para lang walang away or anything like that.
Well, being not polarizing doesn't mean that she's not decisive. No? Hindi naman dahil nagdesisyon na siya dati, ayaw niya tumakbo, di ba? Kailangan lang siya tumakbo. Pero nagdesisyon siya, hindi siya dahil indecisive, It's because she really doesn't want it. No? And she's already made that decision, pero kailangan niya mag-respond to the call of times and to the call of duty, no? And nakita ko yung magdesisyon. Diyos ko, noong sinabi ni Rodrigo Duterte, binigyan siya ng pain, nang sabi, ikaw na mag-lead ng anti-drug czar, kung magaling ka pala. O sige, game, kinuha niya. Di ba? Wala pang 20 plus days, kailangan siya sa atin kasi ang galing And lahat ng mga tao around her na privy ako, ang sabi mo kukunin yun, trap yan, yari ka dyan, kinuha niya. And Duterte had to take her out kasi kukuha niya na yung limelight and nagsiset niya na into the right direction yung war on drugs na hindi puro patay-patay and empirical based, di ba? Ang galing, decisive yun, against all the advice of everyone around her. Political advice ang importante, political survival. Sa hindi, serbisyo ang importante, opportunity ko yan to change yung bloody war on drugs and to put it in the right direction. She decided she will take it. So, if there's anyone who's very decisive na I know, alam mo si Lenny Pero sa totoo lang, di ba, just because hindi niya pinipili maging polarized and she's trying to
yung mannerism lang siguro niya, hindi ganun ka.
Oo, pero decisive and firm. Very firm. Itong si Vice President Lenny Robredo. I'd give her all the benefit of the doubt kasi hindi rin naman madali pinagdaanan niya. Pinakamahirap naman yung shoes niya no? Siya naman yung target ng lahat noong panahon ni Rodrigo Duterte. Kung the mere fact na hindi siya natanggal kahit na grabe yung destabilization sa kanya and all with the awesome powers of the state and almost absolute power. Napakulong nga si Laila de Lima di ba? Pero Lenny Robredo remained intact. Hindi madali pinagdaanan niya. And it's because of the very difficult decisions that she also had to take during her period. So, hindi talaga ako naniniwala na hindi siya decisive. Hindi rin ako naniniwala na hindi siya malakas. I doubt nga, para sabi nila, hina-hina ni Cory Aquino, kayo kaya mag-place ng siyam na kudeta at pagsabog ng Mount Pinatubo at nag-net positive pa rin yung economy natin after being, I don't know, a decade of negative ba, economic growth, tapos ayos pa rin yung constitution, ang dami-daming warlords, tanggal sila lahat, na-assume pa rin kahit papano some sort of stability in the Philippines within 6 years. Toughness yun, and making sure that you survive from a 20-year powerful despot na dictatorship na ang lalim pa rin ng influence in military, na pinatabayan military tsaka mga local government units. Lahat yun hindi nag-thrive under Cory Aquino. So yung pinaperceive nila na weakness, ako feeling ko they are very strong because they were able to survive and not just survive but actually do their fair contribution in our history. And that's also Leni Robredo. Ang lakas ng Office of the Vice President doon, ang layo sa Office of the Vice President ngayon. Yung ability to provide services on the ground, to deliver, to harness volunteerism, to still see what's beautiful in the Filipino people. All of those things are strengths of Leni Robredo that no one else can do, di ba? And even if I love all the other candidates, may unique features and strengths si Leni Robredo na I think kailangan rin ng ating mga.
On that note, thank you very much, Attorney Dina De Leon. Talagang isa kang bayani. We really have to negotiate for a vitamins boost sponsor at this point in time. Grabe talaga.
Kailangan mo na rin, ikaw, lagari ka rin. Namiss ka namin sa Pilipinas. Pagbalik mo, dire-diretso ka.
Dire-diretso na, yeah. But hopefully, I'll be strong enough by this weekend para tuloy naman tayo with due respect natin kasi nami-miss ko rin kayo dyan. Alam ko, hinahanap na rin ako dyan.
Ay, naku, sana naman, makompleto na tayo.
Oo. So, God willing, later. Tsaka yun, marami tayong pag-usapan. Who knows, baka by Friday, may moments of brilliance yung ating mga kaibigan. Na so far, mag-invictus na naman tayo na so far. Medyo evading, diba? Evading the horizons of our imaginative capacities, mga ganun. On that note, thank you very much. Sana kahit na bludgeon tayo, unbound pa rin tayo sa ating television sa bayan.
I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Ayun ang gusto ko sa iyo, aking minamahal na kaibigan Dina De Leon. Talk to you soon, brother, in person, and tuloy-tuloy lang sana yan. Mahaba-haba pala tayo, di ba?
Mahaba.
Ma-extend pa in 3 months. Oh my God, 3 months of this. Good luck na lang sa atin lahat. God bless. Talk to you soon, brother.
See you soon.
Ingat.